What's up guys, it's Joe here from Exterminator125, and today I'm going to give you a little tips video on which Jason is the best to play from all the 8 Jasons that you can play on in Friday the 13th, the game, ranking them from worst to best. I will not be including Savini Jason or Retro Jason because he's a skin, and Savini because he'd obviously be first. So yeah, let's get into it. Of course, we're gonna have all of these Jasons are pretty good, but one has to be the worst. And after playing with every Jason in this game, I have to come to that it is number 7. Reason why? It's simple. His strengths compared to his weaknesses aren't that good. Let's go through them. Sense, because his sense is one of his strengths, which doesn't matter because every Jason, no matter how bad or good their sense is, has a good sense, so that's obsolete. Water speed doesn't mean anything if you're on a map without a boat. Weapon strength, well, that doesn't do anything from the start. Now, let's look at his weaknesses. Compared to his strengths, his weaknesses are quite key. For example, he can't run, so if you're versing a Vanessa, you ain't catching her unless you're very strategic with your shift. His trap, he's got barely any traps, so you won't be able to trap key things like the phone box or thing. You may be able to trap one of each, but you're gonna need more for that. And his stun resistance, which means he's more easy to stun, which do you really need that? Because that's gonna be bad if you're versing a Bugsy who just loves to fight you. So yeah, that ain't good. Next up on our list of Jasons, number 7 has to be Part 9. I like Part 9 a lot. It's a good Jason when you get used to it, but it's like, I don't like to say it's bad, but it's not as good as some of the Jasons we have on here. Let's look at his strengths. He has a great shift, very fast. He has a better stun resistance, so if you're fighting Bugsies, you're gonna have a little bit of an easier time there. And his stalk is amazing. So if you want to be jump scaring a lot of people, like you're in FNAF, that's the guy to go. But he can't run. It takes less hits to knock off his mask, and like Part 7, he doesn't have many traps, so if you're one who likes to trap everything, I don't suggest him. Now, at number 6 is Part 2. Now honestly, I like Part 2 a lot, and I know a lot of other people love it too, but there's a lot of very good Jasons on this list, and I had to go with this guy. So let's go through his strengths and weaknesses. First off, he can run, so if you're versing fast players or players with lots of stamina, you should have an easier time with them. And if you love traps, this guy's the way to go, as he spawns with the most traps out of any Jason with 7. So you'll be able to put 2 traps on each thing. So yeah, that's a good one to have. And his morph regens very fast. However, his shift isn't that good, which is not very good to have, especially when chasing people, but you really don't need that because he can already run. But whatever, his defense isn't that good, so again, if you're fighting a player who really likes to fight back, you're gonna have a good time there. And if you're versing someone on a boat, versing someone in a boat map, well, it's going to be quite difficult to catch them unless you're very strategic in the way that you catch them. Now at number 5, I really don't want to say this, but it's part 4. Like, honestly, I love this Jason. When I first got it, I was using it and it was really good. I was getting kills and stuff, and it looks amazing. However, his combination of stats really doesn't make him that as good as I thought he was at one point. But anyway, let's get into his strengths and weaknesses. I reckon his strengths, out of all the Jasons, probably has the best strengths. Because, first off, he can run, so you obviously can chase people faster. Especially people who have run out of stamina, it's easier to catch them. His weapon strength is class, so if you're a slasher type of person, you're gonna like this guy. And his destruction is also good, which means if you're versing somebody and you're trying to get into a house, you should find it a lot more easier. But his weaknesses, is a really bad combo. First off, his water speed isn't good, so just like last time, you're going to be finding it very hard to catch boats. His shift, again like last time, is also not good, so if you're trying to catch a car, yeah, you're going to have to count on your morpher there. And his very little traps. Now, the reason why I say his weaknesses aren't a good combo, because your shift and your traps, having both of them as weaknesses, that's a very big downfall. And if you're not a very good player as Jason, you're gonna struggle with this guy. But if you're a pro, you may be able to get a lot of kills. I suggest this Jason's one of them that you use if you like to put constant pressure on people, as he can run and he's breaking down doors fast. So you won't really be able to give anyone a lot of time to rest. Anyway, let's get on to number 4. Fourth on this list, I'm gonna give it to part 3. Thinking, why are you giving it to part 3? Well, this guy, I honestly don't really like him that much. I don't ever use him. But I have to admit, he has a very good set of strengths. So, and not that good weaknesses. But let's get into it. First off, he can run, which means, again, putting pressure on people, not really allowing them to rest. Again, weapon strength. So like part 4, if you're looking to slash people, he's the guy to go. And grip strength. Now grip strength as a strength is something that only part 3 has. So it's like an exclusive strength to him. Which means if you're versing people who have a very fast are very good at spamming X to get out of grips, this guy's the way to go, as it won't be as easy. His stun resistance isn't that good, so if you're versing fighters, you may struggle. His sense is as a weakness, but again, sense as a weakness doesn't really mean much, as every Jason has a decent sense, whether it's a weakness or not. And his stalk is a weakness, but not many people use stalk. So again, and also this is one of the first Jasons you get. So all the beginners, you have one of the best Jasons in the game. Now, going on to number 3 is part 5. Now, part 5 is not even a Jason, it's Roy Burns. However, he is a very good Jason, despite him not even being a Jason. And I reckon that the game has gave him a stupid amount of power, especially for someone who hasn't even got any supernatural powers. Anyway, let's get into his strengths and weaknesses. First off, his strengths are throwing knives, which if you're versus someone who can run, that's useful, as it takes 2 throwing knives to get them limping, and if they don't have med spray, well, that's an easy kill. Stalk is class, so if you're looking to sneak up and surprise people, that's a good one. And also he can run, so constant pressure. Anyway, bad things is he hasn't got good grip strength, his defense is quite poor, and his stun resistance. So overall, this Jason really struggles with fighters. However, when he's in rage, he's practically unstoppable. So if you're facing a part 5 and he's in rage, I suggest you just try and keep your distance. Otherwise, you're done. Now, on number 2, I have to give it to part 6. Now, overall, part 6 is an amazing Jason. He's very good, and it's also nice to know that you can get him quite early, unlocking him before, so beginners should have him not long after starting the game. Now, his strengths include throwing knives, which, like part 5, is going to be really good to slow down a lot of fast players. His sense is also good, but that's kind of obsolete, because no one's ever going to use sense, but it's good to have. And his shift is, without a doubt, one of the best out of all the Jasons. Not only can you shift very fast and for a long amount of time, but it regens very fast. This is quite annoying for players, like a lot of players, as if you see a part 6 in your game, you know he's going to be shifting like a madman, and it's going to be quite hard to get away from him. But the things is, his defense isn't that good, he can't run, and his morph isn't that good, but all of them don't really matter. Anyway, coming into number 1, and you probably know, it's part 8 Jason. And this is probably a surprising one, as actual part Friday the 13th part 8 was actually a terrible film, depending on what you're like. But the Jason's actually really good. Well, in my opinion. Anyway, let's go through his strengths and weaknesses. His water speed is class, so if you're on a map with a few technical difficulties. Anyway, if you're on a map with a boat, you're going to be able to catch up with them fairly easy. Just like part 4, he'll be able to break down doors much faster than any other Jason, so you're not going to really give them much time. And his stalk is class, so if you try and sneak up onto someone, you can do that. Now, his weaknesses are his sense, which doesn't really matter, because as I said before, every Jason has a good sense, no matter weakness or strength. He can't run, which doesn't matter at all, as a lot of the Jasons here can't run, yet they're still very good. And his grip strength isn't that good, so if you're versing someone who loves to spam it, you're gonna struggle to get that kill, especially if you're in like a small space and you need to go outside. You're probably not going to be able to get the kill immediately, but he's still a very good Jason, and that's why he is on my number 1 spot. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you like it. I doubt that you're going to actually watch it, but hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.